She had everything the camera could promise. But in the quiet between applause, something darker echoed. Every reinvention came at a cost no stage light could hide. Stay until the end because the woman behind the legend fought harder than anyone knew to survive her own fame. Cher Sarkeesian was born on May 20th, 1946 in El Centro, California, a desert town of cracked earth and restless winds, where dreamers either made it out or disappeared trying. Her mother, Georgia Holt, was a small-town singer with movie star looks and a voice meant for stages she never reached. Her father, John Sarkeesian, was an Armenian-American truck driver who drank too much and stayed too little. He left before Cher could form a memory. Georgia remarried again and again, chasing stability through a string of new husbands, new towns, and new disappointments. Cher grew up in motel rooms, tiny apartments, and borrowed spaces. Always the outsider, the new girl with olive skin, black hair, and a name that never fit in. At school, she struggled. Words slipped away from her, letters blurred. Teachers called her lazy before anyone knew the word dyslexic. She wasn't lazy. Her mind simply worked in rhythm, color, and sound. When she couldn't read like the others, she listened, memorized, and performed. She'd mimic voices from television, imitating emotion before she fully understood it. Music became her language of survival. By 16, she dropped out of school and headed to Los Angeles with nothing but the kind of blind faith only youth can afford. She worked odd jobs, waited tables, slept on couches. Hollywood wanted blonde beauty and soft edges. Cher was all angles, attitude, and defiance. Then, in 1962, everything changed at a coffee shop on Sunset Boulevard. She met Sonny Bono, a songwriter working for Phil Spector. He was older, confident, and saw something in her voice no one else had noticed. Something husky, magnetic, unforgettable. He offered her a job singing background vocals. She accepted, and soon he became her mentor, protector, and eventually, her whole world. Their bond deepened quickly. He was 30, she was 18. The imbalance was built in. Sonny decided where they lived, what they wore, and even how Cher spoke. He believed in her talent, but feared her independence. Together, they became Sonny and Cher, a duo that embodied 1960s cool, fur vests, irony, love, and rebellion. When I Got You Babe hit #1 in 1965, it made them instant icons. Teenagers copied their style. Talk shows called them the voice of a generation. But behind the smiles, control ruled their marriage. Sonny handled all the money and contracts, signing most of them in his own name. Cher, still insecure about her education, trusted him completely. It wasn't until much later that she'd realize how much she had given away. Their dynamic became a paradox. Love, wrapped in possession. When she wanted to act, Sonny said she wasn't ready. When she wanted to rest, he booked another tour. To the world, they looked inseparable. To Cher, it was a gilded cage. The 1970s brought their biggest success, the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour. Millions tuned in to watch their banter, their music, and the sarcastic chemistry that defined early 70s television. She was sharp and funny. He was the straight man who never caught up. The irony was painful. Cher's voice finally had freedom, but only through a scripted stage. Off camera, their marriage crumbled under infidelity and exhaustion. By 1974, Cher had reached her breaking point. The divorce hit headlines everywhere. Sonny accused her of betrayal. She accused him of exploitation. The legal battle dragged on until she sued for her independence, claiming she'd been treated like a piece of property. It was her first public rebellion, and it came at an enormous cost. The tabloids called her ungrateful. The studios stopped calling, but Cher refused to disappear. She poured her pain into her music. Songs like Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves, Half-Breed, and Dark Lady became anthems of outsiders, bold, dramatic, and defiantly autobiographical. Critics dismissed her as a novelty. Fans saw something else, a woman reclaiming her voice. By the late 70s, she was exhausted and nearly broke. Years of bad deals and unpaid taxes left her with little to show for her fame. She performed in Las Vegas for stability, dazzling audiences beneath feathers and sequins. But behind the curtain, she felt hollow. "They love the costume," she said once, "but they don't see me at all." Then came the call that changed everything. Director Robert Altman had seen her on stage and believed there was more beneath the glitter. He cast her in the 1982 Broadway revival of Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean. Jimmy Dean, Critics came expecting camp and found truth. Cher stripped away the glamour and revealed a raw, instinctive actor. When Altman adapted it into a film, her performance stunned Hollywood. A year later came Silkwood, alongside Meryl Streep. As Dolly Pellicer, Cher was subtle, grounded, and heartbreakingly human, earning her first Oscar nomination. The woman once dismissed as a variety show punchline was now an Academy contender. But success came shadowed by heartbreak. Her marriage to musician Greg Allman disintegrated under the weight of addiction and chaos. Their joint album, To the Hard Way, flopped, and their relationship followed. She was raising 2 children, rebuilding her career, and learning that fame could never heal the wounds of love. Still, she kept working. In 1985, she starred in Mask, playing the tough mother of a disfigured boy. The performance won her Best Actress at Cannes, and a reputation for fearlessness. When the studio cut scenes she loved, she publicly called them out, sacrificing future deals for artistic integrity. "You can't tell the truth in this town without paying for it," she said. Then came Moonstruck in 1987, the film that changed everything. Playing Loretta Castorini, Cher captured humor, strength, and longing with effortless authenticity. Moonstruck became a cultural phenomenon and won her the Academy Award for Best Actress. As she accepted the Oscar in Iron Now Diodi, that iconic black-feathered Bob Mackie gown, it wasn't just a fashion statement, it was revenge. The woman the industry had dismissed for decades had conquered it on her own terms. But the victory didn't erase the years of pain. "I've always been a man's idea of what a woman should be," she told Barbara Walters in 1988. "Maybe I'm just now figuring out what I think a woman is." It was both confession and manifesto. The 1990s brought both triumph and tragedy. She faced illness, chronic fatigue syndrome that left her bedridden for months, and crushing loneliness. She returned to music with Heart of Stone, delivering one of her biggest hits, If I Could Turn Back Time. The video with Cher in a sheer bodysuit aboard a battleship sparked outrage and fascination. She was 43, and proving that aging women could still own desire and power. Then in 1998 came a devastating loss. Sonny Bono's death in a skiing accident. Despite years of conflict, his death shattered her. At his funeral, she wept openly, telling mourners she was proud of what they'd built together. For a brief moment, the bitterness dissolved into gratitude. That same year, Cher released Believe. The song, backed with its revolutionary auto-tune effect, became a global anthem, selling over 11 million copies. But its lyrics carried deeper meaning. Do you believe in life after love? It wasn't just a hook, it was her resurrection. The single turned her into the oldest woman ever to top the Billboard charts, and reintroduced her to an entirely new generation. By the early 2000s, Cher had become something even more powerful than a pop star. A survivor who made survival glamorous. Her farewell tour, later retitled Never Can Say Goodbye, grossed nearly $250 million. Night after night, she sang to sold-out arenas filled with fans who'd grown up, grown old, and still believed. Behind the scenes, though, the physical toll was heavy. Chronic pain, exhaustion, and insomnia haunted her. "I'd collapse backstage," she said, "but I'd get up again, because people were waiting." Even as she faced pain, she turned it into performance. In 2010, she starred in Burlesque opposite Christina Aguilera. The film was camp, glamour, and unapologetic fantasy, exactly the world Cher had built her life around. Her ballad, You Haven't Seen the Last of Me, won a Golden Globe. For her, it wasn't just a song, it was a promise. The 2010s found Cher reflecting more than ever. She'd buried almost everyone who shaped her early life. Sonny, Allman, her mother's health fading, and friends from Bowie to Tina Turner. "It's strange," she said. "You think someone will always remember who you were before all this. Then one day, they're gone." Still, she refused to fade. Her 2013 album, Closer to the Truth, debuted in the Billboard Top 3, making her the only artist with top 10 albums across 6 consecutive decades. She followed it with the Here, We Go Again tour in 2019, grossing over $100 million. Proof that even in her 70s, Cher could outwork performers half her age. Offstage, she became a social media legend, tweeting in all caps, trolling politicians, and turning her blunt humor into viral gold. Young fans who didn't know Moonstruck discovered her as the unfiltered voice of resilience. She evolved yet again, from diva to digital icon. Then came the pandemic. For the first time in 60 years, Cher stopped. No tours, no cameras, no rehearsals, just silence. She stayed home in Malibu, caring for her mother and painting. When Georgia Holt passed away in 2022, Cher announced it with a simple tweet. Mom's gone. No fanfare, no statement, just grief. Friends said she went quiet for months. For the woman who had lived her entire life under lights, it was the first true retreat. But Cher always comes back. In 2023, she released a Christmas album, her first holiday record, because as she said, I needed something that felt like light again. That same year, she said something that could sum up her entire life. I don't believe in aging. I believe in timing. At 78, she divides her time between Malibu and Montreux, spending her days painting, mentoring, and occasionally slipping back into the studio. She still jokes that she's allergic to stupidity, still posts at 3 a.m., still sings with the same husky defiance that once made Sonny stop and listen. Her story is often told as one of reinvention, and that's true. But it's also about endurance. Cher didn't survive Hollywood's cruelty by reinventing herself for the world. She reinvented herself for survival. Every era that tried to define her, she transformed instead. Behind the sequins, there's always been the same girl. The dyslexic child who learned to listen when she couldn't read, who learned to perform when she couldn't belong. Every heartbreak became a lyric, every failure a costume change, every comeback another chapter in the same story. Defiance. When she steps on stage now, she sometimes opens with a grin. So you didn't think I'd still be here, huh? The crowd roars, but behind the humor lies truth. She's still here because she refused not to be. From the runaway teenager in Los Angeles to an Oscar-winning actress. From the pop novelty mocked by critics to the living legend who broke every rule of age, gender, and survival. Cher's story isn't just a career, it's a testimony. The woman once told she'd never last a decade has lasted 6. She's faced every kind of loss, love, money, health, anonymity, and turned each into art. She's the rare celebrity whose career doubles as autobiography. Every reinvention a confession disguised in melody. She once said, "Until you're ready to look ridiculous, you'll never make history." She lived by that creed. She looked ridiculous, glorious, unstoppable, and made history. Anyway, so when the lights dim and you hear that familiar beat, do you believe in life after love? It's not just nostalgia. It's endurance set to music. It's a woman who walked through every kind of fire and learned how to dance in it. Cher never became what Hollywood wanted her to be. She became what it never expected: eternal.